Okay, guys. So I was at the movie theater, and I had the strangest sort of like thing today, right? And I was like, I don't even know how to approach this because this is like, on one end, I was like, okay, I can understand. On another end, I was like, this is really fucking dumb, and I don't want to be any part of this because it was just unnecessary drama. But we're gonna talk about it. Okay, so I go to this movie theater where I'm at because, I love movie theaters and stuff like that. And guys, you gotta understand, I'm very friendly and I talk to everybody. So I'm talking to man, woman, child, right? Anybody. Doesn't matter how old they are, doesn't matter how young you are. My goal is to be as optimistic, spread love and happiness to as many people as possible. So I'm just friendly. I'm friendly to all the staff. I'm talking to everyone. I'm very direct. And I'm just clear about my intent. And guys, this is why eventually, I'm going to have to start moving in such a way where basically there's cameras on me, because you guys have to see this stuff live to realize this is how fucked up our society is getting. And yeah, I'm going to swear, and this one's not for kids. So if you're watching the kids, this is not for you, right? Because this is really something that's kind of bothering me. So I go to this theater. Now there's this one girl at this theater. Thought she was pretty cute. Once again, I talked to a bunch of everybody, and I know a lot of the staff, a few of them, and I've talked with them, kind of, chewed the fat. Some are more receptive than others, and so you have the conversations with anybody. Last week I spoke to this person, right? And I spoke to this person, and we were cool. It was cool. It was a good conversation. We were getting along, and it was nice. It was just a good interaction. Now, this girl was cute or whatever, but then she's like, oh yeah, I'm in high school. I was like, oh shit, right? Well, okay, you're in high school. Can't really, do anything there. So I didn't ask for her number, didn't ask her out, didn't do anything. Literally just talked to her like I talked to everybody else, because I was like, you're a high school student, right? And, there had been other high school students I've talked to there because it's a movie theater and it's fine, right? And I was working out today in the gym, and there was this one girl I talked to. Her name was Anna, really cool girl. Got a bunch of straight A's, and she was talking about I asked her what is one of the things you guys really struggle with, and she was talking about money. So I gave her the science of getting rich. Once again, I'm just talking to everybody. But guys, this has become the societal norm where it's oh, as an older man, you shouldn't talk to younger women. And it's wait, what? First off, I'm not that old, right? I'm in that age range, right? And it's just this idea of oh, well, you arbitrarily don't know, and the minute you find, you should just ignore them and not talk to them. And guys, this is why we're running around on fucking stilts and nobody ever talks to anybody, because we're all scared of stupid interactions like this. So let me explain. So I talked to this girl, right? And after talking with her, once again, I've talked to everybody because I'm talking to everyone. I'm not targeting this girl. And I had one conversation with her, right? I've talked with everybody else, right? And so I see her today. I'm coming there and stuff like that. I don't do anything. And I just come out of the movie theater, and I see her, and then she runs away. I don't think anything of it, right? I go back and I have to use the bathroom, and then I see her and she runs away again. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And it makes me flash back. I remember to this one girl I talked to in Utah, and I thought she was cool, and I talked with her too, and she started doing the same thing. And guys, you got to understand, this is symptomatic. This type of behavior, the irrationality of it. Well, let me just continue, and then I'll explain it, right? So what happens after that is I'm like, okay, what the hell's going on? So I finish my movie, Wonka, which I'm definitely going to make a movie, a video about, because I really honestly think Wonka hacked the code to life, and I love that movie. I love it so much. I'm gonna probably see it about 3 more times before I leave. So I go and So I go, I get done with the movie. Once again, she runs off. I use the bathroom, don't talk to her, don't even barely look in her direction, and she runs off again, right? And now I'm like, okay, that's 3 times that has happened. That's really weird, right? Once, just a happening. 2 might be a coincidence. 3 times is a pattern, right? And so after that, I'm like, why is she doing that? So I go to the front desk and I ask about Bantam events for like movies. They start talking about some crazy nonsense that Leonardo's not the best. We'll talk about that as well, about leadership, because they're like, Leonardo is like a loser and it's not a good leadership. And I was like, these kids have no idea what leadership is. And I mean, I'm arrogant, right? They might have some points, and they actually did lay out some points, but I was like, Leonardo's my man. I think he's the best turtle. I think he's the leader, but you know, it's whatever. So we talked with that a bit, and so I talk with, and I'll call him. So I was talking to this guy, and I just want to say, so this is a trans man, right? So I'm respectfully going to use their pronouns, even though, like, if I'm being honest, I don't really necessarily agree with the ideology, but out of respect, I'm going to use their pronoun. But just recognize I'm talking about a human female who uses male pronouns, right? So this is understanding this perspective, and this is important for the conversation. So I'm talking to him, and I'll use his name. I'll call him K. I'll just call him K. So I'm talking to K, and K is talking about how, and I use hypotheticals because I'm not speaking directly about this person. And they're like, well, this person, I'm like, why would someone be doing that? And I especially asked about the circumstance with K, using hypotheticals, not pointing out this girl. And we'll call this girl, I'll call her Lucy, right? So this girl's Lucy. So Lucy keeps running off and like just acting weird, right? And I'm like, why is Lucy acting weird? Because you got to understand, especially like for me as a black man, like growing up in Utah, like people will find any excuse to like make your day hell. And like one of the biggest reasons like I was like I didn't talk to women specifically is because like, guys, it's like Emmett Till. Like you can literally say one thing and like women, you'll get crucified for it. And I, growing up, got killed with that. So that was like one of my major blocks and wounds that I had to work through, is like, you know what? Every woman is going to stand on her own merits, and I'm not going to take things from the past and how I was treated and basically treated really poorly for basically like complimenting a girl, but being treated like I was some like monkey slave, right? But I started getting flashbacks of that feeling. Like literally as she's doing this, I'm like, oh my God. And I start having like these like kind of triggers inside of me, but I recognize like I don't know what's going on there, and I'm going to be present with it, right? So I ask Kay, hey, what's going on? And then after kind of going back and forth, Kay and I establish an understanding without me being discreet and with being discreet, but I haven't opened up. Like, so I haven't, there's a plausible deniability, let's say. Like I didn't confirm or deny any circumstance. There's always plausible deniability. But Kay essentially established that this girl, right, who's high school, so she's like 16 years old, right, Lucy, basically felt weird that I talked to her. And it was like, wait, so Lucy just felt weird that I talked to her, even though when our first conversation was very reciprocal, it was very high energy, it was good. And we spoke once, right? We spoke once. And then Kay's like, oh yeah, like just because like you're older and the age difference, like that might be weird. And even though it's like, and then I asked Kay, I'm like, well, Kay, how old are you? Kay's a few months older than Lucy. And I'm like, well, you're not acting weird. And remember, Kay is a human female, right? And so, like who goes by he, so he's a person, right? So Kay is like, hey, like, you know, my experience as a woman, right, is that like women go through stuff and men want something from women. And I'm like, okay, like, first off, when everybody talks to each other, like I understand that. But I was like, do you feel like I want anything from you? And then Kay's like, well, I'm a man. And then, you know, we started going through that confusion. But then I was like, okay, but in spite of that, do you feel threatened or weirded out or creepy from me? And Kay's like, well, no, you haven't done anything wrong. And I'm like, right, so why am I being treated like a threat? Because remember, these are the triggers of like being treated poorly. And guys, like when, like if you guys need to look up the word, like the story of Emmett Till. Now I didn't get it as bad as he did. He got wrecked, right? But basically he complimented a white woman and just got killed for it. And you got to understand, like as a black man, that's what makes us terrified of white women. But like I'm like I refuse to let things like race, creed, like those superficial layers keep me from being kind and optimistic with people. I've refused that. Like I'm outright refuse it. That's part of the Oni Oniyaba Raising Project. That's part of being happy. I absolutely 100% refuse to let society, the world, tell me how to live my life and say, you must be miserable or we're gonna, like, if they're gonna come for me. That's why I record everything, guys, because I need to protect myself, and also because I don't want to use the past to inform my decisions here. But Kay was telling me that Lucy had some things happen to them, and that's why Lucy was acting weird. But I was like, Kay, you see that I didn't do anything. And Kay's talking about society and like kind of in this defeatist mindset. And I was like, well, Kay, like, we're not going to change the world with attitudes like that. And then Kay, we're talking about it. And Kay is wise. Like, Kay is wise beyond his years. Like, Kay's a wise dude, right? So Kay gets it. Like, Kay's a smart dude. So, and maybe a little Donatello, Kay. So if you're watching this video, Kay, like, maybe there's a little Donatello in you. Anyway, so this girl, like, I'm being around, and she's not making me feel. Remember, she doesn't make me feel anything. Like, it's my responsibility, but that behavior is triggering memories of me in my past, and it's making me feel like this monkey monster, right? Because it's like, wow, I was friendly, I was good to you, like I'm doing to everybody, but now you're ostracizing and avoiding me like I'm a threat. Right? And you have to understand, as a black man, right, that's not a unique experience. There's a lot of black men who feel like that. There's a lot of men who feel like that, and it's literally for doing the right thing. So if people are like, why don't men talk to women? That's why, right? Because they feel like crap. Now, I'm exceptional. I'm the most powerful man and happiest man in the world, so I don't give a shit what a stupid person thinks, but it doesn't change that way I feel about that and things like that. But I'm not going to let those feelings dictate how I treat people. So, in spite of that, I talked to Kay about it, and Kay is talking to me about it. Kay understands, and I'm just hoping that, like, Lucy doesn't do something stupid and make up stories or do some stuff, because I've had that happen, right? That's why I record everything. And like, the next time I see Lucy, literally, I'm not gonna let her utter a word to me without recording it, because it's like, I can't trust you now because you're acting weird. So, and this is why I record everything, guys, because that's literally the paranoia. But once again, I refuse to let that encroach on my happiness. And I'm just going to ignore Lucy until, like, she stops acting stupid and frankly apologizes, because she's acting kind of like it. Well, no, she's not acting stupid, because that's when Kay told me, like, hey, she has these things in her past from, whatever's going on. Now, once again, I don't know about her trauma, just like she doesn't know about my trauma. Right? So she doesn't know her behavior is triggering these feelings in me, and I don't know that my behavior, which is frankly optimistic, fun, cool, is triggering that in her. So neither of us are at fault, but where do we take responsibility? Now, I'm responsible to understand that I don't have to interact with Lucy if she's gonna make me feel that way, and I can just ignore her, right? Now, Lucy's responsible, and let's talk about that. So, Kay, I bring up this idea of a cup, right? So, guys, I want you to imagine your mind like a cup, and every interaction you have is like water. Now, some interactions, a toxic interaction, is like poisoned water, right? Or like dirty water. Now, if you have clean water, which is a healthy goodwill interaction, which is what I try to do with everybody that I do, everybody wants clean water. It's the water of life. It makes life good. It spreads the love, right? That's what I'm here to do, to spread the love. So I'm giving water, and all these people are drinking from the water and feel like, hey, this guy's a good guy. So I know I'm clean. I'm giving out good water. Now, in her, Lucy, when we put water in Lucy, it's coming out dirty. And the reason is because whatever's happened to Lucy, and this is where I actually kind of feel pity for her, and the anger is kind of subsiding, and I'm actually more feeling bad for her, and this is the tragedy of society. But this is where Lucy needs to understand, like, what she's acting like is a call for help, and that's a sign of mental health issues, right? And guys, we've commonized this, and we've like, well, society. The fact that a 16-year-old girl has to have these type of mental health issues run around, and it goes unexpressed, and people just accept it, that's a problem. And that's a failure of our society, and that needs to change. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I record everything. That's why I'm doing this project, because that's a tragedy. A girl shouldn't have to, like, feel dangerous when someone is nice to her. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. The fact that she feels in danger when someone's being nice to her. And that's sad that she's gone through those experiences and that's happened, and that's fucking monstrous, and I feel bad for her. I feel bad for Lucy. So once again, Lucy's like this cup, right? And so she's had this stuff happen to her, and she's been thrown through the dirt, and she's had all this bad stuff happen to her. So even if something good or bad happens to her, right? If something bad happens to her, Lucy, she can get like, because of all the dirt inside of her, even when good water goes inside of her, remember, you can put clean water in a dirty cup, and dirty water is still going to come out. And the dirty water is coming out, not because the water was dirty, but because the cup was dirty. Now, it's not the cup's fault, it's not the water's fault. But this is the thing, in order for the cup to get clean, it needs soap and it needs water. So the very thing that the cup is afraid of is the thing the cup needs, which is good, healthy experiences. But this is where we learn about trust and faith and moving forward. And like, if Lucy's not ready for that, Lucy's not ready for that. But once again, that's not the water's fault. Like, I'm not going to turn off my faucet because there's a dirty cup that doesn't want to be cleaned. Because if you're having to do that every single time, turn your faucet on and on, you're never going to do it. You just have to see, oh, that person doesn't want it, and you don't give it to them anymore, right? But you can't spend your whole life turning your faucet on and on, trying to adjust to everybody around you. You're going to go crazy, and I'm not going to do that. So, like, yeah, Lucy needs soap and water, and I don't need to give her my water anymore. But it's not her fault, and it's not her fault, and it's not my fault. It's just a tragedy of society. But ultimately, like, if I get cut, the body has to heal. You can't look to the knife to heal the body after a cut. So it's ultimately Lucy's job to heal whatever mental health stuff is going on, because that behavior is not normal and it's not healthy. So I'm putting this out. That's the Onion Yabber Raising Project. And yeah, peace.